You picked your last strawberry of the season, and you did the most natural thing in the world. You stopped. Harvest is over. You earned the rest. The patch can look after itself from here. And that one decision is quietly destroying next year's crop before it ever begins. Here is what almost nobody tells you. For a strawberry patch, August is not the end of the season. It is the beginning of next season. Because right now, in late summer, your strawberry plants are about to do the single most important thing they do all year. They are about to set the flower buds for next spring's entire harvest. Every berry you hope to pick next June is being decided right now, in the next few weeks, by what you do, and by what you fail to do. So this is not a video about caring for this year's plants. That ship has sailed. This is about next year. And one wrong move in August does not cost you a few berries. It can cost you the entire crop. There are 5 mistakes. And the third one is the one that does the most damage of all. Because there is a single job, with a hard deadline, written into the calendar. And if you do it too late, or you skip it because you never knew it existed, you do not lose a handful of fruit. You lose next year's whole harvest. That is mistake number 3. And there is a very specific, very unforgiving reason why. By the end of this video, you are going to know exactly what to do in your strawberry bed over the next few weeks. Exactly why each thing matters on a biological level. And exactly how to do it, with the timing and the amounts spelled right out. Not vague advice. The actual plan that decides whether next June is a wall of berries or a bare, disappointing patch. But before any of it, you have to answer one question about your plants. And almost nobody can. Get it right, and everything that follows works. Get it wrong, and you can actually hurt your plants doing the right thing to the wrong type. Let me show you what it is. Here is the one question that changes everything. What kind of strawberry do you actually grow? Because almost everything in this video is built for one type, and doing it to the wrong type can genuinely set your plants back. Strawberries split into 2 camps. The first is June bearers. These give you one big, concentrated flush of fruit in early summer, 2 or 3 glorious weeks, and then they are done picking. After that, they spend the rest of the summer doing something else entirely. Building next year. The second camp is everbearers and day neutrals. These do not give you one big flush. They trickle out berries on and off all season long, right through summer and often into the fall. And here is why this matters so much. The biggest job in this whole video, the mistake number 3 job, the hard cutting back, is only for June bearers. You do not do it to an everbearer that is still out there making fruit, because you would be cutting off the very berries it is trying to give you. So how do you tell which you have? Think back to how it fruited. One heavy all-at-once harvest in early summer means June bearer. A slow, steady trickle of berries across the whole season means everbearer or day neutral. And if you still have the plant tag or your order records, even easier. So, do me a favor. Drop a comment and tell me which type you grow and what state you are watching from. Because the single biggest factor in everything we are about to do is how much time you have left before your first frost. And that depends entirely on where you live. August in cold Minnesota and August in warm Georgia are 2 completely different deadlines. I will keep coming back to your region throughout, so pay attention when I call out yours. Now, with that settled, let's start with the mistake hiding in plain sight in your strawberry bed right now. Mistake number 1. Letting your runners run wild and your bed grow into an overcrowded jungle. You look at your strawberry patch in August, and it is lush, thick. a dense green carpet of plants spreading out in every direction on those long runners. And it feels like abundance. More plants must mean more berries next year, right? It is exactly backwards. Here is what that crowded bed actually gives you next spring. Tiny berries. Hard to find berries, buried under a tangle of leaves. And a whole lot more disease. Here is the biology. Every strawberry plant sends out runners, those long stems that creep across the soil and root themselves into new daughter plants. Left completely alone, your bed turns into a dense mat where every plant is fighting its neighbors for light, for water, for nutrients. And a plant locked in that competition cannot build the big, strong crown it needs to carry a heavy load of fruit buds. So more plants does not give you more berries. It gives you more small berries, and a crowded, humid tangle that disease moves into. The University of Connecticut Extension is direct about this. Overcrowded beds have poor air circulation, more disease, and should be thinned to no more than about 6 plants per square foot. So here is your fix. Thin the bed and take control of the runners. Keep your rows narrow, around 12 to 18 inches wide. Thin the plants down to roughly 4 to 6 strong plants per square foot, pulling out the weak ones. And here is a key one people miss. Your mother plants that are more than 3 years old are spent and worn out. Remove them and let strong young daughter plants take their place. Then cut off the excess runners sprawling out into your paths, so the plant pours its energy into building crowns and buds instead of endlessly making new babies. Now, one note for the other camp. Everbearers and day neutrals make far fewer runners to begin with, so for those, you are mostly just snipping off runners as they appear, rather than doing a big thinning. And the bonus here sets up everything else. A thinned, open bed dries out fast after rain, and fast-drying foliage is exactly how you starve the diseases we are going to talk about later. Now, the second mistake is one of pure neglect, and it is the easiest one in the entire world to make, right after a long, tiring harvest. Mistake number 2. Stopping the water the moment you stopped picking. It feels completely logical. The berries are done, so why keep watering? Here is why. Your strawberry plant is doing the single most important work of its entire year right now, and it cannot do it thirsty. Here is the symptom, and the cruel thing is, you will never see it coming. A patch that limps into fall stressed and dry gives you fewer flowers and a weak, disappointing crop next spring. And when next June rolls around and the berries just are not there, you will never once think to blame a dry spell from the previous August. Here is the biology. Remember, the flower buds for next year's berries are forming right now, in late summer and into fall. And that bud formation is powered by the new leaf growth the plant is putting on at the same time. A plant struggling under drought stress in August and September simply cannot grow that healthy canopy, and it cannot set those buds properly. So, quietly, with no visible drama, it makes fewer of next year's flowers. This is the invisible mistake. The damage is done now, but the bill does not arrive until the harvest that never comes. And this is not a guess. Clemson Extension names late August, September, and early October as a critical watering window, precisely because that is when the fruit buds are forming for next season's crop. So here is your fix. Keep the water steady through late summer and fall. Strawberries want about 1 to 1.5 inches of water a week, counting rain and irrigation together, enough to wet the soil several inches deep. Water at the base, in the morning, with a soaker hose or drip line. Not overhead and not in the evening, because wet leaves sitting overnight feed disease, and we will come right back to that. Then lay down an inch or two of straw mulch to hold that moisture steady and keep those shallow roots cool. Now, a regional note. This matters most in the hot, dry South and the mountain West, where August absolutely bakes a strawberry bed. But do not tune out up north, because late summer dry spells hit everywhere. And here is the honest reason it matters so much. Strawberries are shallow-rooted. They feel drought fast, and they cannot reach down deep to save themselves. The bonus? Steady water now also helps those daughter plants root in strong and build the big crowns we talked about a minute ago. Which brings us to mistake number 3, the one in the title, the one with the deadline. Now, mistake number 3. This is the one in the title. And it is the one that does not just cost you berries, it costs you the entire crop. The cruelest part is that it comes with a hard deadline, and most people blow right past it without ever knowing it existed. There is a process called renovation, and for a June-bearing strawberry bed, it is the single most important thing you will do all year. And almost no home gardener has ever heard of it. Here is what it is. Right after your June-bearing harvest ends, you deliberately cut the entire bed back to reset it. You mow or shear off all the old leaves, right down to about an inch or two above the crowns. The crown is that woody base of the plant, where everything grows from, and you must be careful not to cut into the crowns themselves. Now, I know exactly how that sounds. You are looking at a living, healthy plant and taking a mower to it. It feels insane, but here is why it works. You are forcing the plant to grow a flush of brand new, healthy leaves, and it is those new leaves that will fuel the formation of next year's fruit buds in the fall. And here is the heart of the whole thing, the deadline. Those new leaves need at least about 6 weeks of warm growing weather to mature and set the buds before fall shuts everything down. So follow what happens if you are late. If you renovate in September, in most of the country, those new leaves never get their 6 weeks. They never mature in time. The buds never set. And next year's crop quietly collapses. That is precisely why this one kills next year's harvest. And it is precisely why August is the line in the sand. For most of the country, you renovate in late July or early August. In the warmest zones, you may have until mid-August, but push past that window and you are gambling with the entire crop. So here is your fix, the full renovation, in order. 1. On a dry day, mow the leaves down to an inch or two above the crowns. 2. Immediately rake up and haul away every scrap of that clipped leaf debris, because it is absolutely loaded with disease spores and pest eggs, and leaving it there reinfects your bed. 3. Narrow your rows and thin your plants, exactly as we covered in mistake 1. 4. Feed and water, and the feeding is mistake number 4, coming up. Now the critical caveats, because this is where people hurt their plants. Renovation is only for mature June-bearing beds. You do not renovate everbearers or day neutrals, because you would be mowing off the fruit they are still making. You do not renovate a first-year bed. And you do not mow a drought-stressed bed, because a stressed plant cannot regrow those leaves. If your bed is dry and struggling, water it first for a week or two, or skip the mowing entirely that year. And here is how you find your personal deadline. Count back about 6 weeks from your average first frost date. In cold zones, that means renovating by mid-July. In warm zones, you have into August. Berry growers following Cornell's guidance put it bluntly. Mow too late, and the new leaves never mature, and next year's crop is gone. The bonus is real, though. Done on time, renovation does not just save next year's crop. It resets the entire health of the bed, knocking back disease and reinvigorating tired old plants so that patch keeps producing for years instead of fading out. Quick one before the next mistake, because it is all about disease, and that is exactly where this comes in. Everything I know about that one humble brown bottle of hydrogen peroxide sitting in your shed, the real garden uses, the exact dilution for each one, and just as importantly, the things it will not do, so you do not kill a plant trying, is collected in one place. It is the hydrogen peroxide playbook. All 31 garden uses, the exact dilution for each, so you are never guessing, sourced from real horticulture, not the usual internet myths. There is even a clip and pin chart for your shed wall, 25 pages, $27, link in the description. Now stay with me, because mistake number 4 is where that bottle actually earns its place. And it is the feeding mistake that quietly ruins more strawberry beds than almost anything else. Mistake number 4. Feeding your strawberries at the wrong time with the wrong thing. And the timing here is everything, because the exact same fertilizer that helps your plants in August actively hurts them in spring. Here is the symptom. Either a starved bed that has no fuel to build next year's buds, or, far more common, a gardener who feeds heavily at the wrong moment and ends up with lush leaves, soft growth, more disease, and poor fruit. Here is the biology and the rule that comes out of it. Nitrogen drives leafy growth. Apply it now, right after you renovate in late summer, and it is perfect, because it fuels the fresh canopy that sets next year's buds. But apply that same nitrogen in spring, before and during fruiting, and it shoves the plant into making soft, leafy growth at the expense of berries, and it invites disease right in. So the rule is simple: feed after harvest and renovation, never in spring. Here are the amounts. Work a balanced fertilizer into the bed at renovation. Extension guidance runs around 5 pounds of 10-10-10 per 100 feet of row, and many growers split it, putting half down at renovation and a second, lighter nitrogen feeding in mid to late August, right as the buds are developing. But here is the honest warning: do not overdo it. Too much nitrogen gives you soft, sappy growth, and that is exactly what spider mites and fungus love. In fact, extension sources tie high nitrogen directly to spider mite population booms. More is not better here. Now, this is where that brown bottle earns its place. When you are out there cutting, thinning, and renovating, you are making wounds on the plants, and you are moving your hands and your tools from plant to plant. That is exactly how disease spreads through a bed. So a dilute hydrogen peroxide rinse for your shears and tools between plants is a real, sensible use, helping you avoid carrying infection from a sick plant to a healthy one. And on the foliage itself, a properly diluted peroxide spray is one genuine, limited tool against certain fungal problems on the leaves. And I want to be straight with you about that word, limited. It is a knockback and a sanitizer. It is not a miracle cure, and anyone who tells you peroxide fixes everything in the garden is selling you a myth. Used right, for the right job, at the right dilution, it helps. That honesty is the whole point. And the bonus ties it all together. Feed at the right time and back off the nitrogen, and you get sturdier, tougher plants that naturally resist both the mites and the fungus as they head into fall. And that disease you are working so hard to avoid leads us straight to the 5th and final mistake. The one that quietly carries this year's problems into next year. Mistake number 5. Leaving the old, dying, spotted leaves and the obviously sick plants sitting right there in the bed. They look harmless. They are a time bomb for next year. Here is the symptom, and it shows up next spring. A bed that starts the new season already infected. Leaf spot, gray mold, and spider mites all waiting in the wings. So the moment your fresh growth comes up, it gets hit early, and your berries rot or never size up at all. Here is the biology. Fungal diseases and pests do not vanish over winter. They survive it, hiding in the old, dead, and diseased plant material. Those spotted old leaves, the moldy, mummified berries you left on the ground, the debris from your renovation mowing. Every bit of it is a reservoir of spores and pest eggs that lives through the winter and then reinfects your fresh growth next spring. Spider mites in particular overwinter right in the plant debris and around the crowns. Leave the mess in place, and you are handing next year's plants a disease head start before they even wake up. So here is your fix. Clean it out, completely. After you renovate, rake up and remove every scrap of clipped leaf debris. Never leave it lying in the bed. And never compost diseased material, because a cool backyard compost pile does not kill those spores, it just saves them for next year. Pull out any badly diseased or stunted, virus-looking plants entirely, rather than letting them sit there infecting their neighbors. Clear away old mulch that has a history of disease and lay down fresh, clean straw. And keep that bed weeded and open, so air moves through it and the leaves dry fast, because fungi need long stretches of wetness to take hold. Now here is the honest part. This is the least glamorous job of all 5. There is no clever trick to it, no satisfying mow, just tidying up a messy bed. And it is the one people skip the most. But it is the difference between a strawberry bed that stays productive for 5 good years and one that turns into a diseased, unproductive mat that gives you nothing. And the bonus is a quiet one. A clean, open, well-spaced bed heading into fall is also far less inviting to the slugs and the mites that would otherwise multiply happily in all that leftover litter. So let me pull all 5 of these together, because they are really one single idea. And it changes how you see the month of August forever. Before we do one thing for me. Think of one person you know who let their strawberry patch go to a weedy, tangled mat and figures it is just finished, just done. Send them this video, just the link. It might be the thing that brings that bed back to life. Now let me pull all 5 of these together, because they are not really 5 random rules. They are one single, powerful idea. August is not the end of strawberry season. It is the start of next season. And these 5 things are how you set that crop up to win, months before it begins. It comes down to 3 disciplines. First, reset the bed. Renovate your June bearers on time, thin out the runners, and open the whole thing up. Second, fuel the buds. Steady water and the right feeding at the right time, so the plant has what it needs to build next year's flowers right now. And third, protect it from disease. Clean out every old leaf and every sick plant, so this year's problems do not carry over into next year. Get those 3 right in the next few weeks, and here is the remarkable part. You have already won next June, before a single flower has even opened. And notice the thread running through all of it. Everything comes back to the one fact almost nobody knows. Your strawberries set next year's entire crop in late summer, which makes August the single most important month in the strawberry year, not the forgotten one at the end. And listen, if you are in your 50s, 60s, or beyond, you already know that a bowl of strawberries you grew yourself, handed to a grandchild who eats them straight off the stem standing right there in the yard, is one of the great, quiet rewards of a garden. And it is genuinely heartbreaking to look at a tired patch and assume it is finished, when really it just needed this one season of care. You have earned 5 good years out of that bed, not one decent year, and then a sad, fading mat. So if this saved your strawberry patch, or saved you from giving up on it, subscribe and stick around. We do this the honest way here in the Forgotten Knowledge Library. Real horticulture, exact amounts, and we tell you straight when something is just a myth. Next time, another cheap shelf item, another forgotten garden job that everyone skips. what actually works, and what people swear by that simply does not. Now go out to your strawberry bed while there is still time on the clock and give next year's crop the start it deserves. I will see you in the next one.